Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we got some massive garage upgrades. Did a lot of cleaning, a lot of sorting, moving stuff around, getting rid of stuff. And now we can fit 2 cars in here. We got the Legacy. This one's gonna be down for a while, so luckily we can just keep it in here while we work on the other projects. The amount of space we have now is just unreal. We got some new lights too, so you can see a lot better what I'm doing in here. It took me like a day. I went through all of my spare parts, consolidated them, got rid of stuff, and this is what we have. So I am excited to get to work in here, but enough of that. We are going to continue where we left off on the CB7 Accord Coupe. In the last video, I picked up these 5-lug spindles off of a newer gen Accord, so we can convert this thing to 5-lug. Here are all the parts I need to complete the swap. Along with those, we got Prelude hubs, V6 Accord rotors. Sorry if I sound out of breath, I just lifted that box from my room. It's about 200 pounds. We also got some suspension replacement parts, like these rear upper control arms. Got new ball joints, brake pads. So that's what I'd like to get done today. I went to 2 different O'Reilly's, got these ball joint press sets. These are Honda adapters, and this is the press itself. Here are the part numbers. I'd also like to look into why this wheel is shifted backwards so much. Gonna take some measurements and see what I can find. I'm gonna start with the rear because I have all the parts for this. Alright, so here's what we are swapping it to. This is a Prelude hub. It's from 97 to 2001, I think. And this is from a CRV. I forgot which year. I want to say 98. A 98 CRV rear drum. So with the CRV drum and the Prelude hub, you can convert the 4-lug to a 5-lug. Now you do need to get a different nut. I picked this up from Napa Auto Parts. There's the part number. And this is a little shorter because the Prelude hub bearing sits a little higher than the Accord bearing. So you need that shorter axle nut that's still got the built-in washer. So I'm just gonna throw a light coating of grease. I'm just gonna clean this drum up real quick. Throw the axle nut on there real quick. Fits like a glove. Alright, so now we're going to torque this down to 134 foot-pounds of torque. So that was very easy for a 5-lug swap. I'm pretty hyped. Let's do the other side. Oh wait, it's already done. Sick. So I've got these rear upper control arms, and I want to get them replaced as well. I've been hammering this thing for like an hour, and I finally broke it loose. Here is the new control arm, and I know it's for this side because of this little bump right here. You can see that on the other one. So it's time to start working on these things. Unfortunately, when I went to the junkyard, I did not have my axle nut socket, so I had to take these axles with me. So we're gonna have to get them out somehow. Probably gonna try and put them on the vise in my bench. So this is a 36mm axle nut, unlike the Subaru, which is a lot smaller. But luckily, I actually found the socket that I needed somewhere in one of my toolboxes, so it's pretty sick. I'd prefer a 6-point, but this should do the trick. Alright, next step. We need to replace this ball joint. So, got this press kit from O'Reilly's, which I'm going to return within the next 24 hours. You have to use Honda adapters. You can't just use the kit itself. Here's what they look like. Got the ball joint out. Unfortunately, I broke one of the tools a little bit because I'm stupid. So I can't return the Honda adapters. So let's try not to break the $200 ball joint press. Here's the new ball joint, and no, it's not OEM Honda because I'm broke. Leave me alone. We'll just do the opposite to get it reinstalled. Hopefully it fits. That fits on there nicely. So I got both of the spindles all set up. Both of them have new lower ball joints, and they are good to go. So next thing I need to do is start taking apart the front suspension, mainly the control arms, because I want to see if this one is bent, and that's why the wheel is so far pushed back. So if you guys ever wonder why it takes me so long to upload videos, here's why. So this is the axle nut, which I've been trying to get off for a week now. Snapped 3 breaker bars so far. I've tried pretty much every method in the book. At this point, I don't think I can get this axle nut off, and I'm really tired of trying, I'm not gonna lie. So I think at this point, I'm just gonna remove the entire thing and replace the axles. Kind of sucks, but I don't really know what else to do. This thing is not coming off. I've tried everything. Here's the big socket I bought, 36mm nut, and this thing is just stuck on there. Got the whole assembly out. So we got both sides completely removed. The spindles, axles, lower control arms, that stuff. And I think that this lower control arm is the cause of that wheel being pushed so far back. Now, I'm not sure if it's supposed to look like this from the factory, but you can kind of see this curve in this one. Like it's kind of bent compared to the angle that this one goes at. So what I'm gonna do is order new lower control arms, and hopefully that fixes our wheel alignment issues. But if it doesn't, then that means we have frame damage, which is obviously not something I want to find out. So we still need to remove these upper control arms because I'd like to replace these as well. The bolts are here and here. Gonna have to move this wiring harness a little bit. There we go. Probably gonna wanna replace that. Looks pretty worn. This side's a little harder because the bolt over here is blocked by the fuse box. Well, I took one of my breaker bars back to Harbor Freight and they gave me a new one, which is pretty sick. So my next plan here has to do with these axles. So what I'm thinking is I can take these back to the junkyard with my receipt and I can exchange them for some CB7 axles. There's like 5 CB7 Accords there, so I figure one out of those 5 should have the axle nuts easy enough for me to remove. So hopefully we can get a set of axles today, because I think the lower control arms and the upper control arms come today as well. So we can assemble the rest of the front suspension, and that would be great. Alright, so here's our new axles that we just picked up from the junkyard. It's too bad I couldn't have taken the old ones, but those axle nuts were not coming off by any means. I'm just glad we can get by for now until we eventually manual swap this thing. Now, I'm still waiting for my lower control arms and my upper control arms before we can start putting the suspension back together. I also need the suspension itself. I'm going to be running coilovers. I said in the last video that I ordered some, but I actually didn't. I ordered them, but then they told me they didn't have them in stock, so I decided to hold off, fund the other parts that it needed. So once my tax return hits, I'll be buying some coilovers for this thing, and we can slam it quite a bit. Some things I could be doing. This wheel stud is broke, so we need to replace that before we get it installed. I'm not 100% sure if these are the same, but this is the hub from the rear, original to the car. So I'm just going to hammer one of these out and see if it'll fit into the 98 Accord. I just realized this hole that I created with the missing wheel stud is perfect for getting a screwdriver in there. Now, if only the 25-year-old screws weren't completely stripped out. Anyways, apparently you can't get studs through here without destroying all the threads, because this is too wide. I love cars, man. Check it out. I made a nice little relief cut. It's not as deep as it looks, I swear. The spindle's fine. It's safe. Don't worry. And now we can slide the stud right through. just like that. Alright, so slight issue with the studs. They're a bit shorter than all the rest, just by like 2 threads. So probably gonna have to get some different ones to put in there. We got our package with the control arms. Lower, upper. Okay, everything on this side are all the new parts that we're going to be putting on the car. New. And those are the old ones. Now, I am pretty confident that this control arm is bent, and that was causing the wheel to shift so far back inside the fender well. So comparing them side by side, the original one kind of has this curve to it, and the new one is more of a straight angle. So I think the frame on this thing is good. I don't think we really have anything to worry about, but I might just eat my words. So okay, so we're just gonna get started on this side. We'll start with the new lower control arm. Upper control arms. I don't know why, but it's my biggest pet peeve when you buy new parts and the bolts are like the most random sizes. Like an 18, this bolt is an 18 millimeter. When have you ever seen an 18 millimeter bolt? And oh, actually I do have an 18. Okay, whatever. Easy. Now before I put the spindle on, I'm going to throw some anti-seize on the threads of the axle and the hub. We've got a brand new rotor. Go ahead and throw that on. I'm gonna pop this old brake line off because I cut it anyway. Just use the one that's on the car right now. Got some new crush washers. Where we left off on this side, still need to get the brake caliper all situated. So I've got new brake pads and hardware to replace these old crusty ones. So I'm just gonna push this piston back so we can get the pads in. Let's get rid of these old clips. And then there's one right in the middle. Just get it out like that. And they do send you some grease with the new brake pads. So I'll take a little bit, put it right where the pad slides. Now for the pads themselves. One with the squeaker goes on the inside. Tighten that 14 millimeter bolt. We just need to torque down some bolts. So for the tie rod, it's going to be 35 foot-pounds, and same with the upper ball joint. And for the lower ball joint, it's going to be 43 foot-pounds. And I can't forget the pins. Alright guys, the 5-lug conversion is done. I went ahead and got the other side hammered out. All good to go. Now we're only missing a couple things. I ordered new sway bar end links because the old bushings were very worn out. Still need new axle nuts and the coilovers, of course. So all that stuff will be arriving hopefully soon. And we can get this car back on the road. But before we end here, I want to test fit this wheel actually. I'm also going to jack the suspension up to get the full effect. Oh my god, guys. What do you think? I am in love. This thing is gonna look sick. I couldn't be more excited. Right next to the Legacy. What a duo. You know, I might need to get a spacer so we can get some better fitment, because these wheels are sunk in a little bit. But we'll see how this thing looks after we get it on the ground, because that's what's important. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want to see more videos of my cars, a like and a comment goes a long way with helping my channel grow. But that's all I have for you today. I'll catch you on the next one.